Hello friends, it's Mal with Made by Manny and Mal. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are taking kind of a little bit of a swerve from all of the Halloween and fall tumblers we've been doing lately. I just wanted to kind of break things up a little bit. So today we're going to be doing a kind of spin on the classic Gypsy Leopard Tumbler. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a new idea, kind of something just a little bit different, but we're not reinventing the wheel here, really. I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Everything I will be using in this video will be linked down below in the description box. I will also have some discount codes for some products I'm using in this video down there as well. And our social media is linked there too. So if you're not following us on Instagram, I would recommend that you do so. That's linked down there, as well as a link to our Facebook group. We're doing a lot of fun, exciting stuff in that group, so be sure to check that out. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and subscribe to our channel for brand new videos every single Tuesday and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Let's go! We're going to be using a 20-ounce curve from Craft Haven. I'm going to start by prepping my cup. So I'm taking a 100 grit sanding block and just roughing up the surface of my tumbler. You don't need to go too crazy here, but you do want to get any of that coating off and start to see some of those little sanding marks. And that's how you'll know that you've sanded down far enough. So just make sure you get the cup really well sanded. And then I'm going to take some 91% rubbing alcohol, spray it on a paper towel, and just wipe off all of that sanding residue. You'll see that my paper towel is so dirty. Ew. That's what was on our cup. So we're going to clean it with alcohol, and now we're ready to paint it. I'm using 3 different color paints. I'm using black and white from Montana Colors and silver metallic from Rustoleum. And I just painted in a very simple swirl pattern. I did a big white swirl and then 2 thin black swirls next to that. And then our other big swirl is our silver. After that paint dried, I applied a very thin coat of epoxy to my cup so we can start our glittering. I'm using a little extra ink epoxy, and I did maybe about 1 milliliter of it on this cup. So the first glitter color we're going to go in with is Caviar from Peachy Olive Glitters, and we're starting with our chunkiest glitter like we always do, and we'll work down into our finer cuts. So I'm just putting Caviar very lightly on the black swirl parts. We're going really light in the beginning. We want to build up our coverage as we go. So for the white section, our chunky, we're going to take Oracle from PDB, and we're going to lightly sprinkle that in our white area. And then for the silver section, I'm taking Paris first from Peachy Olive Glitters. This is a holographic silver. I really want the silver portion of our cup to pop and be like the main attraction. This is where we're going to put our leopard spots later. So this is our like main section. So we're going to put a lot of glitter here. Once I've got Paris on there, I'm going to take Disco from PDB, and it's kind of similar to Paris. It's got some stars and some fun shapes, so I just wanted to add that in for some additional dimension. And since it's in this little tiny jar, I just take a little pinch of it at a time and then sprinkle it where I want it to go on the cup. I don't want to risk like dumping it all out at one time. The next color we're going to take is Coachella, also from PDB, and I'm going to put this on the white section and the silver section. So this kind of has a little iridescent shift to it, and I don't want too much of that on our white. I want our white to stay pretty white, but it's really pretty on silver. So if you haven't done Coachella on a silver base, it looks pretty good. Now moving into our finer colors, I'm going to take Batman from Peachy Olive Glitters, and as carefully as I can, I'm going to just cover our black swirl sections with this. I don't want this black to travel too much. Fine black glitter will go wherever it wants, so be really careful when you do your black. After I put all that black down, I'm going to tap off any excess because I don't want to contaminate any of my other glitters. So now for our silver section, we're going to take Illumination. This is still kind of a chunky, but it's a little bit finer than the ones we've used before. Then for our white, I'm taking Diamonds from Glitter Heart Company, and I'm going to just completely cover the white section with this. This is a fine white, so we're really filling in any blank space or anything that might be left over. I tapped off the excess again, and then I took Brilliant from PDB, which is a little bit of a finer silver, and I covered our silver section with that, just completely just making sure we get full coverage there. And then after that, I took Sorcerer from PDB as well, and this is a super fine holographic, so this is really just to make sure we've got all of our spots covered. And as I go, I'm also kind of letting this seep into our black section a little bit, because a lot of the time black doesn't sparkle under epoxy, so I'm not too worried or concerned about this fine holographic getting into that black, because it'll help it sparkle under epoxy. I also covered the bottom of our cup with that Sorcerer as well. And then I tapped off the excess one more time, and then took Brite from Peachy Olive Glitters and just covered my entire cup with that. This is going to kind of help everything blend and make sure that we are fully covered. Now that we've got all of our glitter applied, we want to make sure that it's all laying flat. So I'm just going to take the same sheet of parchment paper I've been using this whole time and roll my cup up in it, and then kind of hold it and like press down all of that glitter. We have a lot of chunky glitter on this cup, and we want to make sure that it's laying as flat as possible to make our lives easier down the road once we add epoxy. So I'm just going to pat it down, get it as flat as can be, and then set it aside, let it dry just about 6 hours, and then we're going to go straight into our leopard spots. So we are not going to add a coat of epoxy before we start painting our leopard, because sometimes when you add epoxy first and then you go in and you try to like glitter leopard spots or anything like that, some of the excess glitter will stay stuck to the epoxy. It's kind of like a static cling type thing. So it's a lot easier to just do it on the raw glitter, and it stays much more clean. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but trust me, it is so easy. So what we're going to do is use this Designer Dries Clear adhesive, and we're going to tint our adhesive to match our glitter color. So I've got a few little cups here, and I'm just pouring the tiniest bit of adhesive I can, and then I'm going to tint each little cup with my Arteza acrylic paints. And for some of these, I like double dipped on my glitter. The base does not have to match perfectly. We just want a little bit of assistance for better coverage. So I'm going to use a small angled paintbrush for my spots, but you can use any kind of small detailing brush that you have. The way to paint your spots is really just keep it random. If you try to make them perfect and uniform and lined up, it's not going to look natural. So no leopard, has perfect lined up spots. So just kind of keep it free, take the pressure off yourself, and just have fun. I would recommend having a reference photo of the pattern or print you're trying to replicate, just to kind of help you formulate the shape. I mean, I think of like 3 leopard spots when I think of leopard, but there are so many more shapes that you can put on here. So I would definitely recommend a reference photo. And when you are painting your spots, you want to kind of stipple your brush into your glitter. You don't want to drag your brush along your cup kind of how you would in a traditional like painting sense. Because you have a rough surface, you want to really just kind of tap that adhesive in and not drag or run your brush along your cup. And I've got quite a few glitter colors, so I'm only doing a few spots of each color to start out with. And then if I get through all my colors and I have some space left over, I'll go in and add whatever colors I think I want more of. And just remember, you can always add more later. You can't take it away once it's on there. So just keep that in mind. So after I put my purple down, I'm going to go in with my blue, and I used this blue base paint for both my blue glitter and my teal glitter. So you'll see me paint some spots, glitter them, and then go back in with the same blue base paint. And that's because I used it twice. So if the color kind of matches or will be a good enough base, definitely use it. You don't want to waste any of your supplies. I'm going to speed this up now, get through all of my colors, and once we've got all of our leopard spots glittered, we will move on to the next step. All right, so here's what we've got. All of our leopard spots are on our cup now, and I'm going to go back in and do some leopard print on the bottom of the cup as well. I'm just going to do one spot of each color to keep this kind of fun and make this a full complete swirl around the whole cup. I'm going to tap off the excess with a pair of scissors, and then I'm going to let this dry overnight. I want this to be super dry before we move on to the next step. So here it is, magic time. One night later, I'm going to do 2 coats of this Rustoleum clear gloss spray and make sure that this is totally sealed in before we epoxy. I wanted to take a little bit of time in this video to talk about my epoxy mixer because I got a lot of questions about it in my last video. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It was about 25 bucks, and my oh my, it is a game changer for sure. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I got these big mixing cups from Platinum Craft Vinyl. I will have a link for those in the description box below, along with a discount code for you. They are really big and they fit in this mixer. So I'm going to mix up about 120 milliliters of my little extra ink epoxy in this big cup. And then I'm going to put the little stir stick thing that comes with the mixer just in my cup, and then stick it in the mixer, turn it on, and set a timer for about 5 minutes. I usually do between 3 and 5, and just keep an eye on it to see how it's mixing. Once it's fully clear and mixed and done, this is what it will look like. Like, holy cow, look how clear that is. Barely any bubbles. So perfect. So I did a coat of epoxy on my cup. I did about 30 milliliters on here. It was really gentle around my leopard spots to make sure that we didn't drag any of those colors around. Once the epoxy cured about 8 hours, I went in and cleaned up my rim and did all of my sanding. So I'm using the same 100 grit sanding block we used in the very beginning, and I'm going to sand down the rim at about a 45-degree angle to expose that thin line of stainless steel for our epoxy to adhere to and form the seal on this cup. I'm also going to get the bottom rim really well, and our white section, make sure that's totally smooth because that's where our decal is going to go. For the decal, we're going to do a triple layered offset of this Live Colorfully quote. I thought it was kind of fun to do this black and white kind of concept with the colorful leopard spots, just to remind you to be bright, be happy, and live colorfully. So the first layer of our offset is our black, and I'm going to trim it down so we only have a little bit of transfer tape on each end and position this kind of swirling around our white section. I'm trying to make it as centered as possible so it doesn't look like off kilter or weird. I took quite a while making sure that this was right. Once I had it positioned where I wanted it to go, I pulled back the back half of the decal, cut off the backing, and then used the hinge method to apply. And then I just went in with the remaining layers how I normally would apply with my offsets. I really love doing these kind of double offsets. It just makes your decal pop even more and look really dimensional. And you guys know I love dimension, so whenever I can put it in a cup, I'm gonna do it. So the next layer is our white decal. And what I did basically to create this was I took my regular SVG that I created and I did an offset of that, very thin. I think I did like 0.4 in Silhouette Studio. And then I took that offset and made another thin offset of that at the same size. So basically just made an offset, then an offset of that offset. How many times can I say offset in a video? Anyway, so the next layer is the white. I'm putting this directly on the black how I normally would. And then I'm taking the regular SVG that I cut out of holographic chrome vinyl from Tech Wrap Craft and applying that to the white. So as you can see, it just gives it a little something extra, makes it pop a little more, and I just love it. So now what we're going to do is seal that decal in with epoxy and add our little colorful striping. It's not colorful, it's black, white, and silver. But anyway, I'm using black alcohol ink, black pearl, and halo pigment powder in one little cup for our black colorant. And then I'm going to take silver alcohol ink. I'm taking Empire from PDB and putting that in a cup. And then I'm taking Pop's Beard from Simply Sarah's Customs in another cup. So the mica, I'm adding like a really small amount, and I took maybe 5 milliliters of epoxy in each cup. We're really not trying to use a lot here. I also ended up adding a tiny little spoonful of Diamond Dust pigment powder from PDB into my silver cup. So first I'm going to apply a thin layer of epoxy to the cup and then hit it with my torch to pop any bubbles. And now we are ready to apply our colorants. So I'm taking the black first and I'm going really light with this. I don't want these colors to move too much. I want them to stay in that black stripe section where I'm putting them. So I'm being really, really patient, letting my cup turn and kind of come to me, and then taking a little bit of the black pigment and just sprinkling it, or not sprinkling it, swooping it onto my cup. And after I put a little bit on there, I didn't take any more on my little stir stick. I just kind of moved the color that was already on there around a little, kind of dispersed it a little bit, and then I went in with the silver and I did the exact same thing. I was being as light as I possibly could and just kind of stringing this in between the black that we already put down. We're not going to hit this with our heat gun or anything to make it move anymore. I really, really don't want it to move. So just be really light. Remember, just like with your leopard spots, you can always add more, but you can't take it away that easily. So just be careful as you do this. The last color we're going to add is our Pops Beard Mica from Simply Sarah's Customs. And this is a kind of transparent, just shimmery mica. So I'm being the least careful with this one. I'm still being careful, but I'm not worried if a little bit of that gets into our white section or our silver section, because it's just going to add a little bit of shimmer and not really take too much away from the actual design. So I'm putting the most of this color on and just kind of letting it go where it wants to. Once I had all the colors on there, I took my stir stick and just kind of mixed them and moved them around a little bit, made them look a little less stripy. I wanted them to be a little bit more wavy and kind of marbly, natural looking. I'm going to hit this with my torch really quick one more time to pop anything that might be bubbling up there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of basic white girl glitter from Peachy Olive Glitters and just sprinkle it kind of on those colorant sections that we just put down, just to add a little bit of an extra layer of sparkle, because you can never have too much sparkle, right? Once I had all that glitter placed down there, I just did a few little pinches. I just let the cup spin for about 4 hours, and then I went in with my final coat of epoxy. I mixed up about 30 milliliters of a little extra and ended up using maybe like 15 to 20 milliliters. We didn't have too much to smooth out here. We just wanted to make sure we had a good layer of epoxy over that glitter that we put down over our swirls. So once this coat of epoxy is all cured, we are all done. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video and that it gives you a little bit of a fresh take on the Gypsy Leopard Tumbler that we all love so much. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you liked the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, just hit that subscribe button, and if you want to be notified every time we upload a brand new video, hit that bell icon so you'll get a notification every Tuesday and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'm so thankful that you continue to watch my videos, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you for watching again, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, love you. Bye.